everybody! PW here. Okay. Might be jumping the gun, but this is the Chipmunk with the new hammer scope on it. And I ran over to the range early for a pistol match, and I sighted in at 50 feet. But unfortunately, I was running into problems with my windage. Now, I only had to move this a couple of clicks to bore sight it. Literally 3-5 clicks windage. When I got to the range, it was shooting just a little bit to the right. So I moved to the left, and to the left, and to the left, and to the left, and to the left. And it got maybe 7, 8, 10 clicks. And it got really hard to turn. And it would turn, but it was like binding. So I didn't force anything, but I couldn't get it to move over. Now, I've seen these kind of problems before, but not with adjustment of sighting, only for these parallax, when the side parallax. If you remember those Simmons scopes that I had, I was clamping the ring right up next to the turret, like I am here. And it was causing problems with the side focus. It would bind. So I'm wondering if these rings aren't, I know they're not torqued too much because I torqued them properly, but I did notice that even without tightening the tops, just tightening the bottoms, because these are a split ring this way, and the way you tighten those is you put the bottom first. You clamp it on the rail first. Otherwise, if you clamp the top first, sometimes you don't get enough clamping force on the bottom and your scope will move. So on the split rings, these halfway split rings, not these, the conventional style, these clamshell, the half with the screws top and bottom, you clamp the bottom first and then adjust your scope and then clamp the top. Well, just clamping the bottoms, I couldn't move the scope. Actually, you can see I actually marked. It's not bad, and I don't care about it, but it's just there's a little line right there on the scope just from clamping the bottoms and trying to move it. So I'm wondering if these rings might be a little small and they're clamping too much. So I've got a set of Burris rings here, and I'm going to swap them out on here. Now, I'm kind of thinking maybe I should go higher, because it doesn't really matter, and higher will allow me to have a little extra room here to cock things and to put bullets in, and because this one here, you have to pull this back to cock it every time. It doesn't manually cock. It's all done here. So first things first, let's check the zero with the collimator. So let's see what we've got here for a sight in, for a position. And that is 2 lines left and just below center. So dead on 2 dots left. So we'll come back to that when we put the scope back on. Now let's pull the scope off and let's see if this windage moves easier with the scope off, with the rings off, and see what we get. I want to put you in speedy mode because I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube. Stand by. Okay. So we got that off. I don't find any marks in the scope other than the line I told you I did. So what do we got here? Here's our windage. And let's see what kind of movement we have. It's tight. All right, it's getting looser. Getting a lot looser. So maybe there is a problem with the scope. Because it's definitely getting tight. Definitely getting tight. That's a shame. Brand new out of the box. Something screwy. So, all right. Well, we'll try it in the new rings and we'll try it out. But I think what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to get that rifle scope out, like I said, and mount it up in rings and just bring it so I can shoot this just close, hold it in close and tight, and use the rifle scope and see if we can still shoot some good groups with this. We're going to play a little bit with this. It's only got one screw holding it, so maybe we'll do a little bit of bedding here. Maybe I'll pillar bed it. It's a nice piece of wood, nice stock. Maybe we'll play with the trigger a little bit, see if we can get a little bit nicer trigger. But the way it works, it just, the sear brake is right in there. You know, you pull the trigger and it pulls that down. So it's hard to do conventional trigger adjustments here. It's not a heavy trigger to pull the trigger. Maybe we could change the spring, get a little bit lighter, but I don't think it's going to be a big difference. Everything is in here, and I'm trying to think of where it's got to be right there. It's got to be where the sear engages. So there's not much one can do with trigger work and polishing, and no, that's it. That's the whole system. So, all right, let me get it back together. Stand by. Okay, put these rings on, the Burris clamp rings. And something I didn't think about was these rings not being centered on the base, causing you need more adjustment to get them centered. Because as soon as I put these rings on, immediately I was way to the right and I could move it back to the left. So now I've got plenty of adjustment and it's not bound tightness. So I don't know what to think. Maybe these really good rings that I've had forever and had on a number of rifles are actually to blame. I don't know. I don't know. These are a little bit lower than these were, so they're a little bit tighter getting in here. And the big thing is this part, cocking, because with this ocular in the way, you know, you can't get in here. With the old pistol scope that was on here, it was way up here. This here was way up here, and because this is a 2-to-7, we got a lot more power, and it's longer. So I don't know, but let's try it and see. Let me get that other scope and see if I can set up some rings, the rifle scope. See if I can get some rings set up and get it on here. It's going to look obnoxious. Let me see. Maybe I've got a different rifle scope that's not so big. That's going to give me just a little more power than 7, like a 4-to-14 or something. I might have something over here. Let me take a look. So let's head to the range and try this thing out. Hopefully that fixed the problem. I got my eye on a Burris 7-power scope, and if it doesn't go too high, I'm going to grab it. But it's pushing some dollars that I don't really want to spend on a pistol scope, but we'll see what it gets. This hammers might be okay. We'll see. God bless. Stay tuned.